This is going to air on Monday, and you've got the prototype here. Is that okay?
I reckon just go for it. We'll stir the girls up in the office and see what happens.
Maybe that's a soundbite as well.
I don't even know when it's coming out or what their plans are.
Well,
they just said, here's a couple of new prototypes.
Let's run with that.
Hello, TK.
Pete, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Very good.
We're even better tonight because we've got someone with us. We've got Mark Henry with us from SolidTeknics.
How good? How good's this gear?
Oh, mate, I am looking
Hopefully you'll
forward
forget him.
to hearing many things about what's in front of us. But, Mark, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me,
Welcome
guys.
to our humble abode.
What a pleasure.
I can't wait to hear this story.
Me
I'll be
neither.
looking forward to it.
I think let's wind it back, I suppose, as far back as we possibly can, that we can all remember, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, are you a Sunny Coast boy to start, or Brizzy, or
Born Sydney, grew up Brisbane.
grew up in Brizzy?
And then SolidTeknics,
Yep.
the knife company, was West End based.
Yep.
And then that went well in Australia, so then took it to the USA.
Yep.
Then France, then back here. I've only been back in Australia 5 years. So
That sounds like a 10-year story in about 2.5
8 seconds. Yeah,
So
exactly.
Come on.
that's it.
Give us
That's
because
shortest podcast known.
before many other knife companies became famous, this was nearly a staple in so many reasonable house cooks' homes.
Yeah.
They thought that was God's gift to, a chopping board.
Yeah.
So,
But don't forget, it was weird when I did it
I
back
bet.
in
Totally.
the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Because the chefs I showed the prototypes, I was still at university.
Yeah.
I was doing my engineering degree when I launched that. I was third-year student.
so the plan wasn't when you were doing engineering to make knives, surely.
Oh, no, not to start a business in knives, but I've made knives my whole life.
Right.
Really?
Handmade
Okay, there
knives
you go.
and stuff.
Why? Do you know why? Or?
My grandfather.
Okay.
He wasn't a hipster knife maker. They didn't exist back then.
Well, he was the original.
No, yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, he inspired me.
Yeah.
Who knows who else? But he just made stuff in his shed because it was cheaper than buying it.
Right.
And he knew how to make it. So why would you buy
That's
a
it.
knife if you can make one?
Wow.
It was that kind. Fishing rods.
Really?
Well, yeah, he made machines to spin the bindings on and all sorts of
Oh,
things.
right. So there's a bit of that DNA in you for sure.
Yeah, he was a backyard inventor and
Yeah.
endlessly fascinated me and my cousins and brothers and sisters watching him in the workshop.
Yeah.
And we'd sneak in there and, run amok a bit too. It was a bit of fun. But
So-
he inspired me, yeah.
Do you? Sorry, T. I was going to say. So you said, inventor. He was. What would you call yourself? Do you, if you had to put yourself in a pigeonhole? Because there's a lot to it. Obviously, engineer by trade,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's more to it than just that.
No, I'm weird. It's hard to define. I was
That's the
born
reason I
weird.
asked the question.
I was born weird, stayed weird.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to die weird.
Excellent.
I'm happy with that.
Excellent, yeah.
And that's why, I've lived in Australia a lot, but I'm not fully Australian.
Yeah, sure.
All those experiences are not just USA and France, but a lot of time in China when I was still a student.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I'd learned Mandarin. I did 4 years of that part-time because I was fascinated, and that got me in the mid-90s, into places in China that weren't open to foreigners.
I was going to say that was like the new frontier still back then,
Oh,
right?
it's wild.
Yeah.
Me and a couple of friends literally bowled up in towns that were closed to foreigners by mistake. And so they tolerated us, but they made sure we got on the next
But
train.
please leave. Yeah.
Yeah, but they let us have a look around, and the kids would run away squealing and laughing. And
Wow.
So I'm glad you're on Behind Podcast, but it sounds like you need to write a book because you really should be 1,000 years old from what you've told us in the last 2 minutes.
don't even get me started on the sports and the adventures, and and a lot of different fields of engineering and making stuff. I've always been curious. So at university, I had the chance. They said, "Hey, what do you want to do your honours thesis on?" I said, "Knives." And so my honours thesis was knife materials and cutting edges.
Okay.
And so I had a whole year. I invented a wear testing machine that simulated the effect of corrosion and abrasion, because I had vegetable juice pumped through the system and the blade would, and every little sample of blade, and I tested all the knife materials, all the different sharpeners, all the different edge geometries, put them under a scanning electron microscope before use, 3,000 cutting cycles and 6,000, 200 times and 2,000 times magnification. I had this big grid.
Wow.
And it just became clear what was going on with the cutting edges and how to get a true honed edge. And what happens when you guys are on a steel,
Yeah.
you know,
What
versus,
happens? Yeah.
a stone, and what that looks like, and the different types of wear, and then the ultimate edges to balance sharpness and wear, the materials that aren't just as hard as possible but tough.
Yeah.
There's toughness happens down on that tiny little micro scale.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't understand that when you sharpen a knife on a steel, so when you're doing that, you're not actually sharpening it, right? You're polishing the blade. You sharpen it on a stone and finish it on a steel, right?
Yeah, it's a good way to think about it, but they're more similar than you think.
Right, it's because I
They're
always
similar.
look at chefs who go, my knife's so blunt, and they sit there for 10 minutes going, shoo, 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 and I'm
Too
like,
late.
you got to get it on a steel.
It's not going to come
So
back.
I
right?
used to stone
it's not
all my
gonna come
knives frequently, every couple of weeks, but
Yeah.
I would just give it a quick lick on a steel,
Yeah.
200 times a day.
That's certainly what I was always told.
Yeah.
That the steel is just to
just to
finish
give it a lick, yeah.
And it's like 2 or
If
3
you-
strokes, and that's it.
If your knife's
Yeah.
fucking blunt, you're not going to sharpen
It's
it
blunt.
on a steel.
And if you look at the cutting edge geometry, right? So Western knives, you guys are mostly use, symmetrical bevel knives.
Yep.
And if they're German knives, they're pretty thick. They're, 25
Yep.
degrees each side or something. So they're strong, but they're not as sharp as the thin, modern, westernized Japanese knives, because
Yep.
they went for finer angles with their exotic alloys that they could
Yep.
get it down, But then they traded off a bit of durability, they couldn't handle the abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so trying to find that balance between hardness and toughness, the geometry, and then, but the steel, you're doing it the right way, because if you put it back on the stone to get the geometry back right, then it's only a few swipes on the steel.
Yep.
But every time you hit that steel, you're hitting it on a different angle,
Yeah.
because you're not a robot.
Yep.
It's impossible,
Yeah.
And so
So you're changing the edge.
yeah, what happens is you're adding a little facet here, either on the very cutting edge or the shoulder, every swipe, because you can't replicate it. So they all add up, and it rounds off your edge,
Yeah.
and that's when the steel stops working.
Sure.
And you've got to remove that metal to
Yeah.
get back to the geometry.
Which you can only do by using a stone.
Yeah, but you can give it to the bloke at the markets with the grinding wheel
Yeah.
if you're brave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lose half your knife.
Yeah, because they do axes.
It's
everything
pretty
else.
aggressive.
But
yeah,
you must have been one of the first guys to ever do is
The
that
solid.
all forged in one piece of steel?
Starts as 4 pieces.
4 pieces, yeah.
But it ends up as one piece. This is the old copper tail. After I sold the business and it changed hands a few times, well, very quickly they deleted the copper tail because it was expensive to do.
What's the difference with the copper tail?
It was
Got a piece of copper on the tail.
no. That's why.
Sorry.
But there was an
Apart from the
Pardon.
glaringly obvious difference.
Pardon the smart ass
Well,
fuck sticking the
Fucking hell.
Look.
It's been
So,
a long day. Please.
Don't.
so that's what you want. 'Cause
Yep.
That's where your
Pure balance,
finger
yeah.
always is. But what happens in 10 years' time when your blade shrinks?
So it's okay. So
It
it's
gets
just
handled,
counterbalance.
and you can easily file that off
Yeah.
or
Okay.
grind that off. And no one ever does it.
I was going to say,
But it was
how many
good.
people actually do that?
No
Who's
one-
the engineer
In
going?
theory, though,
Yeah.
incredible.
In theory.
So, Fury, did that got you thinking more about where you are now, or what was the progression from knife into pans?
cookware.
Cookware? What's the
Yeah.
what happened?
Well, the chefs all loved that. That
Yep.
was one piece.
Yep.
Well, it ended up one piece because of the hygiene, the durability. It's indestructible. Yeah, the second generation of apprentices are getting these now. 25, whatever, nearly
Yeah.
30 years now.
Yeah, it's 30
Sorry,
next
Mark.
year. Sorry,
Sorry, Mark. Could you just pull that mic a little bit closer?
Oh,
Sorry, mate.
yeah.
Sorry.
you got to get it almost in
How's
your
that?
beard. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. So, it worked. Everything worked.
Yeah.
and they loved that it was one piece. But when they first looked at it, it was weird because they said, "Well, where's the handle?"
Yeah.
Because they're used to seeing a black handle or
Yeah.
a wood handle back then.
Was it
And rivets.
was the concern like slipping? Was that what
Yeah,
that would have been the biggest concern?
That was, and well, you guys have used them, so you know that doesn't happen. So
Yeah.
grip that, push towards me.
Yeah.
No,
That was slightly uncomfortable, to be honest.
I know everyone freaks out a little bit, but
Yeah.
you won't slip.
Yeah.
And it's not because your fingers up against the back of the bolster.
Yeah.
It's because of this reverse wedge. You know, when you look at every Western knife that you got, and the Japanese knives, they got it right because when they're slicing something, they're pulling backwards.
Yeah.
So the handle's fatter at the tail.
Yeah.
Great. Problem with the European knives that everything else descended from. Once the French Revolution happened, and then chefs started to open public restaurants, fine dining, and train chefs. That's when they
Pushing.
started to train.
push.
You push down and forward, so
Yeah.
the hand wants to creep forward.
Yeah.
No one ever cuts themselves, even with hands, oil and water. You're in a hurry because the brain will compensate by getting the handle squeezed tighter to make enough friction that you won't cut yourself.
Yeah.
But you do that for hours on end
Yeah.
every day,
Yeah.
and that's carpal tunnel, arthritis, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And so, apart from the blade materials and the cutting edges, I was working on the dynamics of handles, not the statics.
Yeah.
Like static comfort is nice, but it's not what you're doing. Well,
Yeah.
you don't hang on to it.
Static in the kitchen, is it?
No.
Unless it's sitting on the magnet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people, you walk into a knife store and people say, "Well, put it in your hand and see how it feels."
Yeah.
Not good enough.
Yeah. Let me cut
Because
it.
you're not going to, you don't do your work to stand
No.
around like that.
Yeah.
So it's that. And it worked. And so you see all my knives through the years have got that same reverse
Yeah.
wedge. But anyway, it was done that way for 800 years. So everyone expected, a wood, or then it became plastic
Yeah.
and 3 rivets or
It's
whatever.
a fairly bold move, what you did.
Yeah.
You changed the dynamic of knives forever.
Yeah. Well, you have a look around now. You
Hmm.
go into even, cheap
Yeah.
imported houseware stores, and there's all
piece.
all variations.
Well,
of
something that
that.
looks similar-ish.
Correct.
but Will
Yeah.
never be that, obviously, but
There's a lot
similar-ish.
more to it.
Yeah, exactly.
How did the sale happen? Like, how long were you making these knives for commercially before? And did you go hunting for the sale, or did they tap you on the shoulder?
I went hunting for the sale in the USA.
And how do you go? What's that process? You find somebody with a good black book, or just put your feelers out, or
No, you've got to get. Well, over there in particular, there's specialists. There's merger
Yeah.
and acquisition specialists
Yep.
and stuff, and it costs a bomb.
fortune?
Then the lawyers for the
Yep.
contracts is just outrageous. But I'd absolutely had a gut full of capitalism and commerce
Gotcha.
at that point. It was bad enough in Australia,
Mm.
but back then it was pretty innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sell some stuff and everyone pays their bills and everyone's nice to each other,
Yeah.
and they don't try and screw you down to the last dollar in
Yep.
Australia. It's
Different over
becoming American now here.
Mm.
But over there, I saw the ugly underbelly of capitalism, and I had 2 young babies. Both my boys were born in San Francisco at home, and I'm spending all my time talking to these assholes.
there. Yeah, right.
And I'm going, I don't, you're trying to screw me over for, nickel and dime,
Yeah.
they say, I've put my life's work into this, and if you don't want it, that's okay.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
I'm not going
exactly.
to sell it to
but
you.
but they wouldn't be used to that response either,
No.
right?
No,
so,
no, they could see that I didn't care about their money, and
Yeah.
it confuses Americans because the culture is very money focused, and it has to be. It's not that everyone's greedy. The average people, it takes a lot of money to survive there because you've got health care.
Which is
Every-
shit house over there.
nightmare, yeah.
I always say that if you're not appeased by money, it makes you very difficult to deal with.
Yeah,
Even more so in the States. Because if you're not appeased by it, you got nothing
Yeah.
over me then.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
Yeah,
I'm
they
dead
think
broke
they
and
own
gutted
you.
with my family, and I'm the richest guy in the world. So
yeah. Yeah.
when you're over there, it plays exactly into the opposite side, because the capitalism over there is next level, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's in my opinion, it's gone too far because the people are not making money. There's only a few people making money.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, the polarization is becoming a thing. Not to get political.
Yeah.
No.
But, you know, I like
Pretty easy at the moment, though. That's
Jesus Christ.
it's a circus.
Yeah.
But, you know, here in Australia, unfortunately, you know, I said decades ago, because before I lived there, I was going there a long time for business and stuff. And I noticed pretty quickly that if you want a crystal ball into Australia, go live in the USA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same with food.
Wait 20 years and
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
The cycle of food trends starts over there, I believe. They're in UK, you know, to a certain extent, but in the States, it feels like a lot of food trends start there, and it usually takes a couple of years, 18 months, for it to start nudging into Australia.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at different trends in the hospitality game, it's the first place I look at.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you know, and it's an attractive culture for a lot of young Australians.
It's true.
They
Yeah.
seem to have a lot of fun. They seem to have a lot of money, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can't believe everything you see on
Social
the
media.
internet.
That's right.
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
live there and find out.
Work it out. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very different thing. So, sale goes through. I imagine you would have been pretty happy at that point in time. Or
Yeah,
you got,
and I got pretty lucky with timing because it was in September 2008 that
Oh,
we
gosh.
closed. But
perfect.
they were committed before then. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, they ran around and collected 6 different brands, put them together. Mine was just one of them.
Right.
Recession hit, they panicked, cut the guts out of everything. They were already, you know, they switched from Japanese steel to Chinese steel. They cut one of the heat treatment processes. They ignored all my specs for the cutting edges. So it looked pretty still.
But that was it.
It wasn't a professional knife anymore, and people knew it.
How do you react when that stuff's happening? You can see it happening. You know it's happening. Your brand, even though it's
Yeah.
not your brand, but
Yeah.
your baby
Yeah.
is changing.
Yeah.
How do you react to that?
You know, when it first started, when in the meetings with the, you know, it was a private equity firm, that was the biggest mistake.
Did you have some skin in the game still?
Yeah,
Was it
I
a
had,
buy down? Like you had time?
yeah, I had an earn out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and a 3-year non-compete,
Fuck that. Jesus.
but they didn't quite make 3 years, so they had
perfect.
to pay me a bit to, you know, to finish it off. But the problem was they wouldn't listen to me because everything I told them, they could see their margin shrinking.
Yeah.
What they wanted to do was make them as cheap and nasty as possible to make the maximum profit.
Yeah.
And I said, the customers are going to know. They're going to put 2 and the guy sold the company, now the knives are shit.
Yeah.
And they put 2 and 2 together. So unfortunately, it changed hands a couple of times, and I didn't want it back because I
Yeah.
could see the damage. But then an Australian company bought it, McPherson's. It's now Fackelman. Germans bought the Australian company, and they knew me, so they got me in under contract, and I spent 2 years fixing it.
Right.
That's why they're back to
They're back to where
number
they.
one or
Right.
close to it in Australia, and they're at least the quality of my originals because they followed every specification.
That's what I was going to ask. Are
They
you now
destroyed all-
happier with the way that
Oh,
it is? Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
That was back in 2014 that
Right.
I reworked it, but there was like 6 years of
I wonder how much money
Wilderness. Yeah.
was torn up from the moment they cut you a check, fucked it, and then you fixed it. Like,
That'd be big dollars.
I just, you know, you look at that and you go, you're buying that for a reason. I'm assuming it was a decent check. So they recognise the fact that it's a great product,
Yeah.
and you knew what you were doing, and the first thing they did was change it.
wouldn't
The
listen.
franchising is exactly the same, and I noticed that with I started a burger and a donut franchise, and it's like people buy a franchise because it's good and it makes money, but the first thing they want to do is change it the second they buy it.
How
It's
do we
like,
cut it out?
what the fuck are you doing?
How do we save money? It's like, and I think that's just a business thing as well. There's like a lot of businesses will be like, okay, well, how do we save money, or how do we make more revenue?
I always look at the
It's gotta
fact
be-
that
it's got to always got to be both.
I always look at the fact that a lot of people look at, I talk about it in, people look at today's money rather than tomorrow's money. So if that costs you, and I'm not suggesting it's anywhere near that, but if it costs you $20 to make it and you sell it for $100, why don't you just look at selling more rather than looking at how I can make it for $5 and sell
Yeah.
it for $100? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's you want tomorrow's money. So in 20 years' time, you're still selling these knives because everybody knows how good they are.
Oh, there's a whole art, and I did it, I think, intuitively. I did a double degree engineering and business, so that helped.
Yeah.
The business degree, but I had no background in business. I had no concept of how to actually sell stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just that the chefs got excited first, and
Yeah.
then the retailers got excited. We ended up in Maya, and then we ended up exporting, and it kind of took off. So I had to figure out as I went. But I knew, the one thing I knew was, if I had innovation and did something truly world first and people liked it, then no matter what it cost me to make it, I could charge what they thought it was worth.
Yeah, perception of value.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can end up with good gross margins.
Yeah.
And now, even manufacturing in Australia, we're the only cookware manufacturer in Australia.
Which is crazy.
That's
the only one.
It really is. But before we move on to this, I just want to ask one question about the knives. Was there anyone in particular, chef-wise, that back then was, in your corner that really sort of gave you a bit of a, was like, these are great, and that kind of maybe helped a little bit of the role? Or
There was no one chef. Like, I never paid for an endorsement
Yeah.
until I got to the USA,
Yeah.
and that's why it really went crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of television exposure. But in Australia, I just had a lot of top or near top chefs using them because they liked them.
Yeah.
And then they'd take them on their photo shoot. They'd mention something in their article, and back then it was all about magazines and newspapers.
Yeah. It was all
There was no
Gourmet
internet.
Traveller.
It's such a different market about America, right? Because we've got 25 million people live in Australia. There's 20 million people live in California.
Yeah.
So if you got something that's half reasonable and you sell it over there,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
the scale
it's
is
exponential, right?
it's
the thing.
ridiculous.
You're talking about like the stores, and I remember talking to someone once who was a pharmacist, and he had a product that he was selling to the US, and I said, "Oh, it's great. How many extra stores do you get?" And he's like, 1,200 is one customer.
Yeah.
I was like, "What do you mean?"
We had some chains more than that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
amazing.
And a single order, like Costco would say, yeah, let's get in some more of that stuff, and there'd be a $500,000 order, or linens and things were 650 stores, Coles with a K, that was 1,500 or something.
So how do you manufacturing it?
That's what I was going to say. It's like,
Yeah.
you get that order, what
Like
do you do? You shit
everything
yourself,
changes
or-
from when you're in Australia. I can't even imagine what that looks like.
And imagine, I've got products that I don't change. I make them, and I make sure they're the best in the world of their kind, and then I don't make any changes after that, or very little. If I can make little increment, if the material changes,
Just tweak
I can
it here and
make-
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like to make a classic because it's the way my brain works. I'm not a deal maker. I'm not a hustler.
Yeah.
I got to make the best
Yeah.
and then let it do its thing, and organically. So people talk about it because they agree it's the best.
Yeah.
And then people know that I'm not paying people to promote it.
Yeah.
They just think it's the best.
It's
And
just good. Yeah.
well, that's when a brand lasts for generations, not
Yeah.
a season.
And
That's
that's a big part of this, right? Is the fact that the guarantees and things like that are.
Yeah.
What's the official line?
Yeah. Now you're gonna laugh.
Yeah.
I love saying this. We should get your staff around. The warranty, the written warranty, is multi-century. See,
I just love
everyone loves it.
that. I love it. I think it's so good, and the fact it's like just buy one pan,
It's
Your whole
definitely raising your middle finger and going,
isn't
fucking
it?
beat
But
that.
it's like this can be done. I think this is the whole point. It
Your
can be
whole
done.
life.
You've proved it. So let's talk about these. Is there one here that makes more sense or explains the process, or
Oh, well, these are two classics, but broadly we've got a type of stainless steel and we've got wrought iron.
Yep.
So wrought stainless steel and wrought iron.
Yep.
And so they're formed from a single piece. So they are one piece. There's no welding, there's no joins, there's no nothing. So it's
no rivets?
no rivets, no welds, no extra pieces.
So it comes back down to just trying to find the best possible steel. Is that right?
Yeah, and did you know that a one-piece stainless steel pan has never been done in history, and we're still the world's only?
Really?
Yeah, because it's a lot of pans, stainless steel pans, they're spot welded in the handle, and then there's a plate at the bottom as well, right?
Yeah, and there has to be, because they haven't figured out the materials or how to form a single piece into the shape of a
Because that's
pan.
basically where they fail every time.
Yeah.
Either in the handle or in the base.
And rapidly in a restaurant,
Yeah, when
right?
they're getting smacked.
Yeah, and the rivets, and you got all those thermal cycles, or you're leaving it on, a cooktop for hours on end.
Chefs wouldn't do that.
Delamination, right?
Or taking it from
Yeah.
at 400 degrees and
Into
throwing it into a bucket of water
Yeah.
40 times a night.
Yeah, it won't last long.
So
You
With-
can't kill these even in a restaurant. It's impossible to break them because they're one piece of a material that doesn't crack. That's the other key thing. This is malleable material, so it's ductile. That means you can run over it with your
say
truck.
that
and
word again.
Ductile.
Ductile.
Malleable. So think about extremes.
Yep.
So copper is ductile and malleable.
Yep.
You can
Yep,
bend it, but
yep,
it won't
move it.
crack
Yep,
and
yep.
it won't snap. Glass is hard but brittle. It's not ductile. It's hard.
So
Yeah.
ductile means
crystalline.
firm.
Yeah, but bendable and not breaking. So say you get plasticine, you
Yeah,
can squish
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but it doesn't really crack.
Yeah.
Or then you get a thin sheet of glass, very hard, you can't
Yeah.
scratch it, but it smashes easy.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
that happens in knives, like it's less extreme, but it happens in cookware as well. And so, cast iron pans, right? Everyone assumes they last forever because they're really solid and heavy,
Yeah.
but they crack like that. If
Yeah, you
drop
bre-
them
you
onto
drop
a
'em, they
hard
break.
floor,
Yeah.
or shock it with
Yeah.
thermal, because it's a crystalline structure. But
Right.
when you work metal the way we do,
Yeah.
all those little crystals. So when you crack cast iron, have a look at the surface. It looks like the surface of a rock. It's got all these little crystals.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because it hasn't been touched after it was cast. It's just left as cast. But this stuff is worked, and so all those crystals get squished down and laid over each other randomly, and all these platelets, the crack can't pass through them.
So
and they
that makes
move
them more
like this.
secure. Does
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And it makes them, the little crystals can, do this instead of bang,
Shattering.
crack.
Yeah. Wow.
So how was one of the key processes in your phase 2 of your career when you started making this amazing cookware was finding the steel first? Like you needed a really good supply because you can't afford your supplier to say, yeah, that's not available anymore.
Right. It's got to be right. But actually, that came second. My biggest challenge, and the reason I worked on one-piece pans, was chefs always said to me over the years, "You made a one-piece knife. Can you make a one-piece pan?" I said, "No, it's not possible."
Until it is.
So how long did it take you to
And
get
if you ask any engineer, they'll probably still say it's not
It's,
possible.
yeah. Okay.
How long did it take you to get one of these where you went, I think I've got it?
Well, if you count thinking about it for decades and trying to figure it
No,
out,
from the moment you've grabbed a piece of steel and you're like, I'm going to give this thing a crack here.
prototyping it, yeah. Intensive prototyping and testing, probably 5 years. And I made some cast iron first because I was trying to figure this out and it wasn't working. So I said, well, I can also make the best designs for cast iron and make it as good as it can
Yeah,
be
yeah.
Yeah.
while we wait.
While we're here,
And
yeah,
they
yeah.
were excellent
Yeah.
and people still love them. But they are cast iron, so they're going to be twice as heavy as
Heavy.
wrought iron
Yeah.
because of the thicker sections. Our handles were good, but you look at the average cast iron, they've got those fat little
Yeah.
handles
Yeah.
that get as hot as the
As
the Yeah,
inside
yeah.
of
exactly.
the pan. And then you got the cracking, but they're slow to heat because cast iron is not efficient as a conductor.
Yeah.
And that's relates to why stainless steel pans have never been made in one piece because they've all got layers, right? And so the clad stuff, if it's clad all the way through, has got nickel stainless steel on the inside, then it's got either aluminium or copper layers, and then it's got a ferritic stainless steel on the bottom so it can work on induction.
Right.
If they want it to work on induction. If you ask any amateur engineer, they'll say you can't make cookware out of solid stainless steel. Forget the rivets and make it one piece. That's like, they say, no, that can't happen. But they also say you can't cook on solid stainless steel because it doesn't conduct heat. And that's why all the layers are there. That's why there's aluminium
To help
inside.
yeah, okay.
To try and push the heat through until it hits that final layer of nickel stainless steel. Then it's like it's an insulator.
Yeah.
So you're pumping in all this heat, but what actually gets to the food is just a fraction.
And keeping it in the pan.
You keep if you're on gas, it's wrapping around the outside
Yeah,
and going
going,
out through your
That's why a
exhaust.
lot of stainless steels they start smoking from the outside.
Yeah.
And you put something in the middle, and it's like, oh, that's not really that hot, but
Yeah.
the oil around the outside's about to catch on fire.
and the edges and everything. Yeah.
So is the trick here just the process?
No,
There's-
that material is completely different.
Right.
So there's no nickel in it.
Okay.
Nickel, and that's why these work on induction like that, because they're magnetic all the way through, and so the induction flux
Yeah.
is affecting the metal all the way through. You're not heating the bottom, the conductive layer on the bottom, and waiting for it to conduct
Seep through, yeah,
and then
yeah.
try to push through the insulating layer. It's the same highly conductive alloy all the way through.
Wow.
And so that's why all our customers say, yeah, it's a good rule of thumb, turn your burners down half what you're used to, and that's a pretty good starting point. That's
So
about what it
there's an efficiency there that would come from
huge.
gas, electricity, whatever it is that you're using to.
Yeah. And we've
wow.
got the video evidence. We've got all clad next to ours.
Yeah.
We kill it
Yeah.
in first to boil and rolling boil.
Yeah.
And how do they hold their heat once they're hot
Oh yeah.
in comparison to your competitors?
Oh yeah. Because
Because I've got copper pans at home, and that's one of the things that I love about them.
Yeah.
The even heat. And I'm talking about they are, ever since I started cooking, I'm like, one day I'm going to have a full set of copper pans. And I could never afford them.
Yeah.
So all I did was throughout the last, 30 years, I've just brought one every couple of years. And now I've got 6 or 8 at home.
Yeah,
And I'm
nice.
like, they are my fucking pride and joy. But the way that the even heat and the way they hold their heat is, you can see why they cost as much as what they do.
Yeah, it's hard to beat copper.
Oh.
I mean, it's hands.
It's
down the
completely
most
uncommercial, though,
conductive.
right?
No,
Like-
they're not practical.
No.
And,
Because they're so soft, or
oh
It's
no, it's
just
because you
expensive.
can't cook direct on copper either.
yeah, okay.
You know, that's when the Iron Age happened. You know, it was the Bronze Age, and everyone was cooking either still on stone or clay.
Yep.
But then when the bronze and copper pans came along, they quickly worked out that you can't cook anything acidic in it because of the reaction. It's, it's a toxic acid. So with your copper pans, there's a tin lining on the inside, and I can do that at the farm. By the way, I cast in pure tin and silver at the farm. But all it is, you get it to the right temperature, the copper and the tin, and then just pour in, say, 2 dessert spoons of molten tin, and if you got the right swirl, real quick, done, and it's perfectly even. And the pros can just one after the other.
yeah.
But the problem is, it's got a low melting point tin, so you can't put them on screaming heat. You'll strip all the thing off, and eventually it wears through, and you've got to re-tin them. But beautiful material apart from that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, and again, you're talking to a completely ignorant human being here. Is
Just in that.
is this
not in everything.
no? Some would argue. Is this molded? Like, is this
No.
So there's no.
No, we patented the method. Well, there you go. See, innovation. The only reason we exist still is that these are patented. The way we make them is patented.
Right.
Because we got a lot of competitors in Australia and offshore looking at us because they see our
see it.
Yeah.
growth and the brand going like this. They go, oh yeah, we might be able to figure that out. Then they look at the patent and go, oh, forget about it.
Doesn't matter.
But you are everywhere at the moment. Like every single time I open my social media up, it's that you've got a share for you. It's they seem, and I don't know whether it's just in my algorithm because I'm always looking at food
Oh.
stuff, but it's everywhere.
And this, I mean, it's been 11 years now, but particularly during COVID, we doubled, you know.
Just home cooks as well, chefs at home,
Yeah.
wanting new gear.
Yeah, chefs and home cooks, but, you know, we had the best cookware and it was made in Australia. Everyone was refitting their kitchens and they were looking for Australian made. So it just went like that.
And that's
Yeah.
such a great story.
Yeah.
We should be screaming that out from the rooftops because I
100%.
think that's the only Australian cookware company made in Australia.
The only production cookware, there's little bespoke
Of course, yeah.
handmade
Like at the
stuff
markets and
stuff.
you know,
you know, and
You
they're-
can't ask them for 100 of them; they'd shit the
Yeah,
bed.
that, well,
Yeah.
No is the answer, or
Yeah.
see you in 3 years.
Yeah.
or whatever it might be. So,
No,
So-
we're making them by the tens of thousands.
Yeah,
well, that was going to be my next question. Is in terms of like the process from start to finish to make one of these.
Yeah.
How long is that now?
Well, it's about 6 weeks we can count on, or
Okay.
8 weeks. But that's, you know, waiting for all the stages.
Everything to line up and
and everything. But physically making it, I guess, would only be hours
Right.
per thing. But if you're making a batch of 10,000,
Yeah.
it kind of
That adds up.
out.
Yeah.
What's your team look like?
Well, here in the Maroochydore office, we got 12.
Yep.
And that's, you know, management, marketing, accounting, and all that stuff. Then in the Sydney factories, we got 3 contractors down there. The key contractor, probably about 15 people occupied with our stuff. You know, it goes up and down. That'd be a good average. But then we've got the other factories making all the other bits and pieces because we make knives,
Yep.
we make hand tools. We got, you know, one-piece titanium tongs and scrapers and turners and all this sort of
So
stuff.
they've all come out of this. Is that with this process?
No, different again.
Oh, okay.
Different again. The process has never been done, and the easiest way to think of it is wrought iron pans aren't new. They were the standard for 3,500 years. So from the start of the Iron Age, they figured out you could get a billet of cast iron and get it red hot and hammer it into the shape of a pan if you've got a big arm and a big hammer and
Yeah.
patience, you know. And that's the way they were made for 3,000 plus years. And cast iron was used for decorative stuff or whatever. They had a lot of trouble making cookware out of it, and if they did, it was a ceremonial thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
But you don't find many in the museums, right? Because they all cracked over the years.
Whereas this, you can still find wrought iron pans.
Well, particularly in Europe,
Yeah.
you go to the museums of France and the UK and stuff, and you'll see Roman infantry wrought iron pans and
Yeah,
stuff.
wow.
And you could still cook on them. There's nothing wrong with them.
That's
If they
amazing.
haven't rusted away.
Yeah,
One of
it's
these
not
out of
rust, so-
the equivalent of the pyramids.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
5,000 years.
Yeah, well, but back to the multi-century warranty, you know,
Yeah.
first reaction is to laugh because it sounds like a marketing gimmick. And I like to say, well, we're not marketeers, we're engineers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is say to an engineer, is this guy for real? It's one piece of a material that can't crack. And they'll say, oh, yeah, well, the only way to destroy it is to wear through it. So think about how long it's going to take to wear through
Have you had anybody that's tried to claim a warranty on it?
We've had a couple of people do crazy things with induction. They get cheap induction cooktops, the cheap ones that you get for the home,
Yeah.
and they put it on a big pan and they crank it up to max. And they say, yeah, but the ring printed on the glass top was this big. And I say, do you know how big the flux field is? It's actually about
It's
that
tiny,
round.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're pumping all that heat right. And so we had a
Into a
couple.
very
It's-
small
it's
area.
possible.
Yeah, okay.
It's possible if you abuse them enough with that kind of differential heat,
Right.
you can get a bit of bowing in them.
I just
But it's
think about
probably 2 dozen out of about 500,000 pounds. That we
it's
make.
such a fuck you when you
Isn't
go
it?
multi-generational.
Yeah.
Like that warranty is like, I fucking dare you.
Yeah.
Yeah, give
Come
it
at
your
me.
best
Well,
shot.
yeah, exactly.
Like
And
it's
that's
such a testament to the fact you're standing behind your product going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah, we're
That's
you know,
what it is.
we don't even ask questions if we know someone's abused it.
Yeah, you'll
because
be able to
there's
tell
no
straight
other
away.
way to
Yeah.
destroy
There's no
the
point
pan.
having
We just
an
say,
argument with a dickhead who's clearly
Yeah.
trying to rip the piss. Have another pan.
yeah, but we say, but this time, can you do it this way?
Yeah.
Just
Don't-
be aware.
Don't
Yeah,
cook it
of
like
course.
that. Yeah.
Because if you
Yeah.
keep doing it, we're not going to keep
No, of
replacing.
course,
We
of
pay you to
course.
go buy something else.
Yeah.
But anyway, wrought iron. But we just figured out a way to use machines to replicate the working
The
of
big hammer and the big
the
arm.
material into shape. Yeah.
But I like the fact that this cookware has got a place in somebody's home. It's got a place in a restaurant. You could take it out camping,
Mhm.
and you don't have to worry about being, super fragile with it.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna get the job done.
I see
Yeah.
a pan like that. That's immediately what I think of, like fireplace.
Yeah.
Like this is in a fire. There's something
Yeah.
cooking on it. It just
Yeah.
that seems where it's
there's a
like
tomahawk-
natural
there's a
habitat almost.
tomahawk
'cause
sitting
yeah,
on it,
exactly, yeah.
It's huge with camp cooks.
I bet.
And the barbecue teams,
Yep.
but also,
Oh, of course.
the wood fired restaurants.
Yeah.
The Jasper ovens.
Yep.
The,
You just stick it straight in the
open
oven.
pits.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't hurt them. Neil Perry, he got excited about him because he was looking for. This is way back when we first did them. He wanted flame grill baskets, but all the baskets he was buying would last weeks or
Yeah.
months, And I just got one of these pans, and we got a diamond-shaped punch, and we went
Straight through it.
and so we got 3 millimeters of solid wrought iron with holes in it, and they're also going to last for centuries.
Yeah.
So, and what we say, the other big thing is non-toxic, right?
I wanted
Which
to
is
ask you
such
about
a
that
big
because
thing.
it's a huge thing these days, right? There's a lot of pans that have got stuff on them. Can you just explain like what the stuff kind of is or can be?
Well, that whole collection of
But Teflon is really fucking bad, right?
that's a brand name and it's bad, but there's a lot of them. That's just one brand
it's a
of
blend.
many.
I thought Teflon was a coating.
It's a
It's
coating,
a brand of the coating.
but it's only one coating. You
Gotcha.
know what I mean? There's lots of different
Is
types.
it BPA? Is it BPA?
No,
That's-
it's a polymer
Right.
chain, and PTFE is
That's one of the. Yeah.
PTFE is what they call it, but they got busted, right? And they got the biggest industrial fine in history in the USA about 20 years ago. But they kept trading and they kept selling them because they made a little tweak to the polymer chain.
Therefore, it's different. So
And they said, trust us now.
Fuckers.
Yeah, all the birth defects and poisoning the water table of a whole region. And we fixed it now, so trust us. But
Yeah.
that took 20 years. No, that took a lot longer for people to figure out how toxic it really was because they're blaming everything else.
everything else, yeah.
And they weren't telling anyone that their own lab rats and stuff and their own staff.
Really?
Oh, yeah, birth defects amongst their staff were
Oh wow.
Jesus Christ.
horrendous.
Sounds like an Aaron Brockovich kind of situation. It's just,
Well, they made a movie about it. Dark Waters.
oh, there we go.
yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. Huh. They made a movie about it and plenty of documentaries
Yeah, I'm
and stuff.
sure. Yeah.
But they were so good at lobbying in Washington that they were allowed to keep doing it. And their marketing machine kept telling people the real danger is oil. So if you use our plastic coated pans, you don't need any oil or
Which is-
very little.
The oil's the issue, which is just not the case. So
It's the opposite. Why would you? And it's just common sense. We know plastics are bad in general. Why would you cook your food on plastic?
Yeah.
It's just common sense, right?
Well,
I read this article today.
it's not
that-
common though. That's the
that-
problem.
They reckon with the
Unfortunately.
amount of
Will be.
microplastics that are in our everyday life now, they reckon that if you're 50 years old, you've got the equivalent of a plastic takeaway knife and fork in your stomach of microplastics.
Yeah.
Every human being.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking crazy, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I reckon this form of you could see the sway with food probably 6 or 7 years ago becoming more and more let's organic, grass fed, just trying to set a decent tone, and I reckon that this is going to be the next thing, or if
It's happening.
clearly
Yeah.
doing it now, but
It's happening.
it's-
People,
people are
figuring
going to-
it out.
Yeah, I think people.
Give me 1 second. Thank you, mate. I try desperately hard to get my son to wear a nice shirt.
Doesn't he look great?
Wear Broncos jersey. So Thank you for dressing up. I appreciate it. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Sorry.
Awesome. He's overrunning the restaurant over.
Yes, very
So, yeah. Well, thanks so much.
For everyone who may be listening, we just had a wonderful young gentleman in a sport coat come up and shake Tony's hand. That's what all the kerfuffle was.
Sweet. You sent him a drink, which sounds creepier than what it actually is, but he's definitely the most best dressed person in this restaurant.
Very well dressed.
Yeah, he brought the little young fella brought he wore a suit in, and I said, "Oh, you're the best dressed guy in the restaurant." So I wanted to buy him a mocktail.
Nice.
So
That's good. Good of him to come and say thanks. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's really nice. So
What
we would have
great
been shitting
manners.
himself.
Yeah,
Good on him.
exactly. I think what I was going to say is I think that you're 100% right. Like that 5-6 years ago, maybe it's even a little bit more. People they're starting to care a little bit more about lots of different things. I think COVID probably gave people time as well. So if we know that like baking changed because everyone learned how to make sourdough for a couple of years. Exactly right. But there's things like that, and I think that there is this sort of slow evolution of people wanting to know where things are from.
Yeah.
I think it starts with food.
Yep.
Like they care about where their produce is from a lot more. And I think that this isn't the next part of that evolution is, okay, well then if I care about my product, where my products are coming from, I should probably care about what I'm cooking it on.
Yeah,
Or what I'm cooking it in.
You'd think.
I mean, that'd be ideal. But I think that just gives, there's so much opportunity with that because people will gravitate towards things that make sense.
Because they'd be upset about a dirty plate that their food was going on.
Totally. Absolutely. That,
Yeah.
Let's heat a piece of plastic up to 400 degrees and put a bit of fish in it.
Yeah.
That you paid, $50 a
everyone.
kilo
Does
for
it,
the fish.
how do you go when you go out and you see can you go out? Do you eat out?
I don't. Yeah, I have a look around what's hanging on the wall. That's for sure. But I get it. There's budgets.
Yeah.
And not many. Because the managers are going down to the commercial kitchenware store, and they've only got a small budget, so they're not going to buy one of ours if they're not the owner of a very successful restaurant who's got the spare cash. But once they figure it out, we do have restaurant groups buying our stuff because they know if they fit out the kitchen, they'll never buy another pan.
Absolutely. It's like, what do you want to buy in pans? You want to buy 20 now, 20 in 6 months, 20 in 6 months after
Take
that?
one down for Ollie.
By 4. Yeah, I definitely should. If
He'd
he
have,
hasn't already seen
he'd
it,
have
so.
30 of every one of them.
Probably he would want that. We've got in our group, we've got a new restaurant opening technically next Tuesday. So, but and we've got open fire there as well. So
We better send you
yeah,
some.
I think he would definitely love
Send
that.
me some first,
no,
not him.
no, you're opening a Mexican joint, mate. You just need a tortilla press and you're done. So, which would probably be pretty good, mate, out of this, I would imagine. So,
Better than the timber ones we got from Mexico, that's for sure.
but I think it's one of those products where people who care will gravitate towards this, and same with knives, same thing. It's like you buy a good knife, you buy it once, or you buy it maybe twice in your life, or whatever it may be. Chefs, you go to their, I can't even imagine how many knives you've got. It'd be a ridiculous amount. And I suppose I've always sort of skirted around and I bought one or two here or there, but then someone gets missing or snaps or whatever it may be. But now I'm like, I want to spend the money on the right things. Like I don't want to buy them 5 times.
I think you get to a certain stage of your life where you really realise that analogy, poor man pays twice, is so true. Because I'm the same. I've got a knife kit that now I've got a young son who's an apprentice chef. I can see the knife kit suddenly just getting smaller and smaller and
Something's
smaller.
missing out of that.
But out of the, I don't know how many hundreds of knives I've got, half of them are shit. Because as a young apprentice, you're like, oh, geez, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I probably brought one of these after the company fucked it, after you sold it.
Yeah.
But then you go, well, if I'm now a professional, I'm making a few bucks, I'm going to invest in a nice knife.
Yeah.
And it's funny, 20 years later, they're all the knives that are in my kit that are
Still there.
perfect,
Yeah.
that are sharp,
Yeah.
they might not be the sexiest knife, but it's the one knife that I pick up every single time. I could not pick it up for 12 months, and I'll grab a tomato and I'll just go, and it'll be
true.
exactly the same with the copper pots. Every single person that comes to my house, they're like, where's all your pans? I'm like, I only got 6.
Yeah.
But they're
all I need.
fucking good.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at these and I'm like, I need to get, because I like,
You'll be done.
well, the
never
one thing
buy
with
another
copper
pan?
that I don't like doing is I don't like heating it up and cooking steak on it. Like,
No,
and that's what I
they're
like
not
about
designed for
cast
it.
iron.
Yeah.
And I was one of those guys, and I've still got an old cast iron pan that I used to take camping,
Yeah.
and people will often say to me, if you're cooking a steak at home, not on a barbecue, what are you using? And I'm like, I've got this one copper pan, and it's one cast iron pan.
Yeah.
It's only about that big.
Yeah.
You can get 2 steaks in it, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this thing is
Yeah.
bomb-proof.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
Wait till you try
this is the
wrought
kit.
iron.
Yeah, this is the kit.
Everything works better. I mean, the long handle that doesn't get hot.
Stick it in the oven.
I don't explain that. Explain that to me, because it just doesn't generate.
Doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
But we created a maze, basically, so the heat doesn't like to change direction, and if there's holes...
Hang
it
on. So you're saying the handle doesn't get hot?
No, you
That's
can
what I
pick
just-
that up. You can pick that up.
That's like some kind of sorcery that we're talking about now.
Yeah. Ask our customers.
I wouldn't even pick up I wouldn't pick that up with a damp tea towel, let alone a fucking dry one.
No,
Yeah,
there's no way.
there
Oh
you
my
go.
God.
It shocks everyone. Even over a fire pit, if that handle's hanging out away from
Not
the
underneath the
flame,
direct flame.
yeah. It won't get hot, and you can pick it up.
That's cool.
I don't know. I mean, I was excited to talk to you, but now I'm even more excited.
Oh, it's a
There's a lot more to it. We haven't even
Gotta
talked
go and
about
put it in the kitchen.
seasoning, you know. This is natural non-stick, So-
that's what all my
like your
cast irons look like.
Yeah. So can you explain that, like the seasoning process? Because a lot of people who haven't bought
Yeah.
mainly cast
Just
iron, I
keep it
imagine,
away
before.
from fucking hot soapy water.
Yeah,
For a start.
you can if you're a bit careful, but don't scrub it all
No.
off. The
Yeah.
trick is to get, so it's just oil.
Yeah.
Usually high smoke point oil.
Yep.
Is the best. It makes the hardest.
Is there an oil that you prefer? Like not necessarily-
Avocado is my
Yeah.
favorite.
Okay.
But in the factory we use rice bran oil.
Okay.
Non-GMO, good
Yep.
rice bran oil, because it's not the oil that you're gonna eat.
Yeah.
No
It
flavour.
transforms into something else inert,
Yeah.
non-toxic, hard. It's not oil anymore.
Yeah.
It's all the bad stuff's burned off, you know, and what you're left with is the hard inert coating. But it's the only known way to have a non-stick surface that gets better with time, not
Over
worse.
time. Yeah.
And so it's
like
not
a wok.
like, yeah, there you
New
go.
woks
Much the
suck.
same.
Yeah.
Old woks are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wok hay, everyone's talking about that, but it's just seasoned
Yeah.
steel.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's carbon steel. Works even better on wrought iron.
Really?
Similar,
So do you
but better.
put salt in and heat the salt up, or just
You can.
Yeah.
That's one method. And the salt and oil together, it's a good trick on stainless steel in particular, right? But you don't really need to on this stuff.
because one of the
That
things
surface is so good.
with my cast iron pan, I find that if I lend it, which I have done before, or people come and stay at our house, we go away, it'll get a bit rusty because I haven't looked after it enough. I just stick it straight back on the fire, get it really hot, handful of cheap table salt, get it
Oh,
screaming
table
hot, table salt with some newspaper.
Mm.
Every 10 minutes, and it's insanely hot.
Yeah.
But just keep giving it a bit of a rub for about 15 minutes on full tits.
Yeah.
And then discard the salt, and she's perfect.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of avocado oil
Yeah.
on a paper towel. Give it a bit of a rub, and she's good to go.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's stovetop seasoning. You can also oven season if you want to do the whole
thing.
thing.
Yeah. Okay.
To keep the rust down, but I don't care what happens underneath and on the side.
No.
This is what matters, and all you got to think about is if you got food residue, that's got to come off.
Yep.
So all those little bumps will
Yep.
be the Velcro for the next food you put in.
Yeah.
So you can scrape it with a metal scraper, and it doesn't matter if you scratch through to the bare metal underneath, preferably not. But if you do, don't panic, because when you cook with it with heat and oil, it's going to self-heal.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay,
it's
so
self-healing.
if there's any kind of
Little
scratches in
scratches
it, they basically go back together.
Oh, as soon as you got heat and oil, that bare metal's covered and it's reseasoned. So it's,
Crazy, hey?
it'll get better
like
over time.
actually potentially blowing the back of my skull off.
So talk to us. This is clearly different again. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk us through that one.
Well, same material. I don't know. I
This
might
one's
get
real
in
for the
trouble
people-
with my marketing girls. This is a new product. This is a prototype.
Perfect.
Right.
So
Because
let's
people
go.
who are-
Let's do it.
people who are listening and not watching, you've got a fairly shiny pen. I'm suggesting that's just a bit older.
Yeah.
You got the
Wrought iron.
people who don't look at it, looks like cast iron, wrought iron,
Yeah.
and then you got this really shiny, nearly looks like stainless steel. But when you pick it up, you realise it's not it.
Well, it is.
It is
still
stainless?
A type of stainless steel, but it's
Because that's
our
really
type.
heavy.
Yeah, it's proper heavy.
Yeah, yeah. 3 millimeters of solid
Yeah, there you go.
non-nickel stainless steel. So, like we were talking before, it's more conductive than regular stainless
Gotcha.
steel, even with all the clad layers and stuff. But that's just a different layout of the handles, so it's oven to table.
Yeah, so you do a
So
casserole
it's like
something
a
in it's right in the
standard.
middle of the
what is
table.
it says it on here, 26 centimeters, September 2025. Is that because it's a prototype? Is that why that's got that on there?
It's not on the market yet. It's not in production.
If anyone wants it, it's in the back of my car.
Imagine the price. Of that. Exactly. We've got collectors.
I didn't even
It'll
think
be,
about, I
it'll be
didn't
on
think about
eBay
that, to be
tonight by the
honest.
time you get home, Pete.
It's happening.
You got collectors?
Oh yeah. There's one of my cast iron pans that was first edition because we've got a thing on Facebook called the SolidTeknics Lovers Group.
Okay.
And it's our most, intense fans, 23,000 or something.
Jesus.
And if we launch something new and special, we stamp or engrave first edition and the date.
Yeah.
And for special things like the new knives, I'll make little initials and stuff.
Yeah.
See that knife's completely different to
Yeah, so
that's
does that
pattern
come out
fit
of
as
there?
well. Yeah, that'll come out.
Just wanted to-
So that's cast and forged in Australia. It's and we got patents for the process. It's never quite been done like this before, where we cast and it's carbon steel. That's why it's got that nice pattern there. But I get to cast the composition exactly as I want it because we got a crucible and you can design whatever steel or alloy you want in that crucible.
See, I love carbon steel.
Cast it.
Do you like
Yeah.
carbon?
Oh yeah, it's my favourite. That's
See-
why these Rolls-Royce editions were carbon steel.
Because I
So-
got
special
carbon
carbon.
steel. I got some carbon steel Subertier knives. At home,
Yeah.
and that was my favourite.
Yeah,
They were
old school.
expensive, but as an apprentice, I remember working with a French guy, and he told me all about them, and
Yeah.
I remember saving up and getting a small. They called it a utility knife, and I remember when I first bought my first cook's knife of Subertier carbon steel. I'm like, this is unbelievable. But then it
Very
rusted,
sharp
and I'm
edge.
like, oh, it's fucked. And the people did, like I didn't get the whole carbon steel.
Yeah.
And now my son, I'm like, he's like, oh, why do you want a rusty knife? I'm like, you got to understand the metal because it is the best in the market.
It'll be the best edge you can
But-
get on a knife.
I don't think the young guys these days want that pain in the ass, but
Yeah.
it is by far the best knives I have.
Yeah. No, it's special stuff, but it takes a bit of maintenance.
It does. I reckon it's worth it. Have you got a
Oh.
favourite steel that if you were to make one knife for you at home, or if you wanted to shake it with, what
That's
would it be?
it.
Is that it? Yeah,
That's
right.
it. It's not like the old Sabatier soft carbon steels.
Yep.
They're great.
Yep.
Because you can get a razor sharp edge on them real easy.
Yeah, then chop a Moreton
This
Bay
is-
bug and it's fucked.
If you hit something hard or whatever. But this is a more modern Japanese style carbon
Yeah.
steel, like their white carbon steels and stuff that are extremely hard, but still pretty tough. And the shaving sharp edge you can get on that, there's no stainless steel that can do that.
And where do you find your steel from? Like, how do you go? Is that a massive process?
You might have to be shot
Yeah.
after he answers
Yeah,
this. so,
yeah. Well,
Well, you don't even have to
I
tell us
start-
where, but just tell us, like,
Well, I
that process
start
must be
with-
one of the most important parts of the
Oh,
whole process, right?
absolutely, yeah. The composition of that is crucial, but then the heat treatment as well.
Jesus
I know,
Yeah,
right?
it's sharp.
You know what? I haven't sharpened
scalpel.
that. I haven't sharpened that since it was originally sharpened, and that was about.
It's 2020.
Oh, there you go. Is
I
it
just,
on there?
I just read it.
Oh, there you go.
It says First Lovers Edition.
Yeah, First Lovers Edition.
First Lovers
and it'll
Edition.
be numbered. I think.
Number 2.
Number 2 with a love heart.
Yeah, little
And a
and your
signature.
signature on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my initials. But we keep the first 20 of every first edition
Yeah,
in storage in a warehouse.
that's great.
Every
Don't
product.
ever
Where's the
don't.
warehouse?
I knew you were going to say this. I knew that was coming. It's just
Well,
like-
a sharp heel's
Yeah, that is
dangerous,
a
but
very sharp heel.
That is a sharp heel, but it's okay for me.
I've got I've got stitches many times over that.
That is a weapon. Like
And see, it's chisel edge, so that's got the same edge geometry as a Yanagiba or whatever Japanese single bevel chisel edge. That's a chisel edge. It's not symmetrical, so that's a right-handed knife. So that
So that means so which edge, which way does it go?
well, because you're hanging on to it like that,
Yeah.
the chisel's on this side.
that
If you're
side.
right-handed,
Yeah,
the
okay.
chisel's on
Yeah,
the
the
right
angles,
side.
On
the
the
angles
outside.
on the right.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
call it right hand, the angles on the right.
Yeah.
Straights
Yeah.
on the left hand.
So
And-
do you get left-handers asking you to make knives for them?
well, we make left-handed.
Okay,
knives.
there we go.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
We
Of course,
got
I knew
We'll
that
be in
was
a lot of
coming.
trouble.
It was a stupid question.
Along with the checkered paint.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
It's like if we make that cutout of Australia in the handle, you wouldn't believe the effort to make Tasmania
Oh, damn.
geographically
Yeah.
accurate.
But if you got it wrong,
Have you got some tosser going, it's not big enough?
It's perfect. It's accurate.
you had one person, you're like, I'm going to deal with this.
same-
Never going to have it again.
The same dickhead who asked for a new pan because he stuck it on an induction top for 2 days.
We get the amateur engineers, trust me, degree in YouTube.
Yeah.
We go, no, we got this.
I'm sure you
Trust
do.
us.
Leave it to the professionals. So this is newish, or this is
Yeah.
obviously 5 years for that one,
Well,
but-
we've only just started production. We've pre-sold. See, if you want a first edition, you've got to stump up the money, then wait while we,
Okay.
make tooling,
Yeah.
do casting, do forging, sharpening, the whole lot.
yeah, right. So it's almost like
Takes time.
sort of not crowdfunding, but it's like you've got to commit
Crowd
beforehand. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's
That funds everything.
become a to be a amateur backyard blacksmith is trendy now. Grow a beard,
It's a hipster.
get a
Hey,
hey,
I can
mine's
hear you.
not as aggressive as yours, but
That's not a bit.
but I mean, to get a leather apron and
Yeah.
buy a forge, and suddenly you're
It's
a
a
blacksmith
hipster
at home.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
totally.
really is.
Yeah.
And I've got
You go through brewing your own beer,
Yeah.
doing barbecue, and then knife. That's
Whiskey,
yeah,
cigars.
exactly.
I've got a good friend who they're the owners of the Boat Shed, which is a very, very popular restaurant here on the Sunshine Coast. And Adams breeds horses now. Beautiful. I'm going to fuck this up. Gypsy something or other horses up in the hinterland, and he's started making his own knives a few years ago. He just does it as a backyard thing, but fuck me dead, they're beautiful knives.
Yeah.
And he's taken it
Right.
from, a hobby to, he doesn't want to sell knives for a living, but he's mastered the. I wouldn't say he's mastered the craft, but he makes a fucking nice knife now.
Yeah.
And I look at it
I
and I
like
go, I don't know whether I've got the patience for it, but I appreciate. Like I look at that and I go, I appreciate so much the effort that it takes.
Yeah.
Just to get to that level, let alone before you can package it up and sell it.
I just feel
no,
like
it's next level,
Oh.
and then the sharpening.
That's the next bit.
Whew. That's well, apart from the rough shaping, then it's 4 stages of Japanese water stones, and we end up with 8,000 grit on the cutting edge, and so that's true mirror polish. And people say, but it's perfectly smooth. It's a mirror, and I go, well. Depends on how good your microscope.
yeah, I was going to
is.
say you
Yeah.
go right down, you can see the issues, right?
Well, not the issues. You'll see it's a sawtooth edge. Every cutting edge is a saw. But you think your edges are smooth. They're not.
No, of course.
If you get a scanning electron microscope and keep going,
You'll see.
humans can't make
No.
perfectly
No.
smooth. It doesn't exist. All you got to do is, you think of the smoothest things on earth?
Yeah.
No, they've still got mountains and valleys
Yeah.
if you can get in close enough. And, the steel, that swiping motion, that arc across the steel or across a stone, that's not just because it suits the human hands. People don't realize that that arc is what puts the teeth. The little scratches, and including from a steel, it's still removing metal. You just can't
Yeah, of course.
detect it.
You can't see it. So fine.
So
Yeah.
fine. But you'll actually see any little bump, like in the striations of the steel or in a whetstone, will plough its way across the metal, and say that's your cutting edge. Well, let's do it like that. I've ploughed down with, this micron-sized thing, and where it exits, it makes a little furrow. You think about ploughing a field,
Yeah.
corduroy or something,
Yeah.
know? And where they all overlap, that's a sawtooth edge.
So that creates that. Yeah,
And
wow.
that's why you're trained to, usually the blade's moving for tough stuff anyway. It's on these soft things you can
Yeah.
do the chopping motion,
Unbelievable.
How much do you cook?
I cook most nights.
Yeah.
I'm single and I'm on the farm.
There
So,
we go.
you know.
Okay, a lot.
Yeah.
But were you cooking like when you certainly from the knife back in the mid-90s? You're at university.
Yeah.
Were you cooking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
And then as I started to cook more and more, I was always interested in food, but I started to cook more and more once I figured the knives out, because I got more excited about the prep. Yeah, and people didn't realize that the prep can be an enjoyable part of the process,
Absolutely.
not the painful thing
No,
at
yeah.
front. It can actually be an art.
It's almost cathartic as well sometimes. If you just get in the zone, you're just like, I'm just going to sit here and cut X, Y, Z, or whatever
But I
it is.
dare to chop a capsicum with the shiny side up, or a tomato when you've got shit knives.
Oh, yeah.
Because nothing will send you around the twist
Yeah.
quicker than that.
I've done
Tomatoes.
that.
But
tomatoes are
when you
always
grab it, if you've got a good knife and you've got a good chopping board, and I still to this day, I grab a capsicum, I can slice it, or I grab a tomato and I slice it. It's like, yeah,
satisfied.
The
it's so
Yeah,
satisfying.
yeah.
But nothing will rage me more when I love my wife. I love her so much.
Don't do this. I'm recommending you don't finish this
This
sentence.
is on video.
But the
Melissa, turn off right now.
the putting of the knives through a dishwasher could turn me into a mass murderer, I reckon, because there's nothing that
But luckily the
fucking
knife
grates
is
me
dull.
harder.
Now he went, you know.
It's like, just
Yeah.
wipe the knife and put it back.
It's corrosion.
It doesn't. You don't need to do that.
All of my chef knives have been put away because Sarah does it. I'll open up the dishwasher and I'll see it, and I'm like,
I went and brought the greatest bunch of racked knives in a knife holder that you could buy in one of those shops that you may have mentioned. That's not
Not
purely
a pro
because I'm
one.
like, you fucking don't deserve it. And still to this day, I'll be sitting in front of the fire or sitting in front, and I'll hear the knife hit the stainless steel bench. I'm like, fucking
You
knew I
are
was
digging
right.
yourself a
She'll
hole
admit it,
here.
mate, because she doesn't want to cook. So, there's a part of me that's like,
Oh, you reckon that she's doing it on purpose?
She's doing it just to fucking piss me off. So she's like, I'll stay out of the kitchen.
It's actually not a bad plan. So that's pretty. If that's what it is, you've done very, very well there. So.
I wouldn't put it past her.
No, exactly, mate. I reckon we could talk all night
Oh,
about
mate.
this, about your history, and I'm pretty excited to see what's next. Very much so. I
Big
think
things coming.
I think it's going to get real expensive for me, but that's okay.
Sounds
I'm
like-
okay with that.
Sounds like you got to come back and tell us all about the new stuff coming out, mate.
Oh, it's going to get wild.
Excellent.
I'm working on stuff that we're not launching for 5 or 10 years because it's going to take that long to
Really?
figure out what's coming next. Come out to the farm sometime.
We'd love to.
Go
Corey,
walk
we're on
the
it.
gardens and you
Yeah.
just forage. You know, we got chefs come out pretty regularly and they're just inspired as they walk through and they change the menu as
You
they
have
walk.
Matty.
Yeah,
You're up
This
at
is the way
Kinkin,
it
right?
should
Matty G lives up. Matty Gillinsky. Has he been out and knocked on your door yet?
Not to my farm.
He's got his own little orchard going on up
Does.
there. He's been on the show.
With his okra
God, fucking okra. And his air fryer. Or was he anti-air fryer?
anti, I think.
Anti-air fryer.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he's
good to
yeah.
know.
There's some. It's interesting. That part of the world, there's some good cooks up there.
Yeah.
A lot of really good cooks
Plenty.
up there. It's going to be interesting to sort of see now that there's like some investment in the area
Yeah.
as well. It's
Kinky
going to be
pub,
interesting to see that you
bloody
don't want to get it too big though.
No,
right?
no.
That's the thing. It's like
Well, the old school locals are a bit freaked out.
Yeah,
like
I
the
bet.
old farmers.
Yeah,
It doesn't suit them, and it's understandable. But there's a lot of course, they want to draw in the Noosa crowd
Yeah, of
and
course.
everyone from the region, and it's worth the trip. I mean, that
a beautiful
valley's
part of the world,
gorgeous.
mate.
yeah.
Really is.
And the way they've renovated the pub,
Yeah.
and the food is.
It's
world-class.
he's a visionary, David, who did that, and you know, love or hate what he's done up there. You can't go up there and knock him for having a go because he's doing good, and the food and the pub, it's fantastic, and it's fantastic for the Sunshine Coast. I reckon.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's just somewhere else to go. That's
Yeah, it
the
really
thing,
is.
so-
Yeah, beautiful drive in the country. and-
Absolutely.
That's it.
And I can walk there from my farm.
Well, that's even better for you. So,
power to you.
mate, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate
Mate,
it.
congratulations on your
We'll,
product.
we'll put the website here, won't we,
yeah,
Corey?
definitely.
Insert here.
And Mark, we're definitely going to do that. But a couple of things.
Yeah.
This is going to air on Monday, and you've got the prototype here. Is that okay?
I reckon just go for it.
Yeah.
We'll stir the girls up
Yeah.
in the office and see what happens.
And
Maybe that's a soundbite as well.
I don't even know when it's coming out or what
that's
their
fine.
plans are. They
Well,
just said, here's a couple of new prototypes.
Let's run with that.
we've got it on video now. You said yes, that's fine. It's basically a signed contract.
To your CEO comes in and gives us a lawsuit.
Is there anything else that you would like anyone to know that we didn't ask you?
Well, have a bit of pride in Australian manufacturing for a change. Yeah. When I first started doing this, everyone said, well, it's not European or American. You know, it's that cultural cringe. We don't believe we can be the world's best at stuff sometimes. But believe it, because these are the best of their kind in the world. We got the patents. We export them all around the world. They're becoming a big thing. And we're just in the right position as people figure out you shouldn't be poisoning yourself in your cookware. So have a good look at
And that's a big thing,
toxic
right?
load. Yeah. All around the home.
And buy one and give it a go. You know, and the proof will be in the pudding, right? Because I've spoken to a few professional chefs who use these, and I couldn't get a bad word out of any of them. So well done.
They know.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Much
Awesome.
appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for your time and getting it out there.
I can't wait to cook on them.
I
Awesome.
can't wait for you to cook on them.
You got it too.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
See you guys. See you.